Good morning.
Good morning.
Oops.
Really?
Yeah. Little microphone. Look, this is a little mic we have. Clipping it to my sleeve.
Because he says that I whisper.
She whispers, and I sound loud. It's bad enough that I'm always a little closer to the camera, so my head looks twice as big as hers.
Because you have a big head.
No, I'm just closer to the camera. Look.
We're sitting next to each other.
Look, now our heads look the same.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
You have a big head.
But look, when I do this, no, when I do it. Don't do that. Not when I do it. Look. What? So look how big my head looks compared to yours. And everybody thinks I have this enlarged watermelon head. But really,
do.
Look, when I sit back, the same.
No, you still got a big head.
Identically the same.
No, they're not identical.
Look, you go forward. Go forward. Look how big her head looks now. And I have a pinhead.
You're a big head.
No, I said I look like I have a pinhead, and yours looks big when you go forward. Why don't you go forward?
Can we just start? OMG, really?
Okay.
Enough about big heads.
So,
Head.
look. House of Rest. What? That's the original logo.
Oh yeah, that is, huh? That is the original.
So, good morning. That's the longest intro ever.
I know it has been.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah. Today's been interesting because it's really the day before we're filming this. We just had dinner, and we're about to relax and wanted to do a video first. So,
One of many days we haven't been able to really
yeah.
just sit down and watch a little TV together or anything. So
Yeah.
it's going to feel nice to be able to sit down and do that.
That was a pretty good episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, she told me to sit down and watch the episode 1 of the Good Doctor
Yeah, The Good Doctor.
on Hulu, right? And it's about this young man. He's autistic, and he's a surgeon.
Yeah.
Interesting first episode.
Yeah, your daughter had told us about it, and then I had wanted to have watched it, and my kids have been watching it, and they said, "Mom, you got to just sit down and just start watching and I watched the first 15 minutes, and I was like, I don't want to watch anymore. I want David to be here with me to watch it. So
I wonder if you sound louder because the mic is on my sleeve now. So
is that loud?
I don't know.
Oh.
I won't
You
know
guys
yet.
will have to tell us if it's loud or not.
Shake your head if it's louder. Nod if it's not. Johnny, be careful when you do this because your head's so big, you might whiplash yourself. Okay. Oh, I forgot what we were talking about. I just have my Bible open to Mark.
Oh, okay. Let's go to Mark.
Why did I put it on Mark? Oh, I remember. Okay. This is going to be good. This is going to be real good.
You know what I've been thinking a lot of? I've been thinking a lot about the tomatoes and the vine.
Oh, yeah. We should have had tomatoes for dinner. Oh, we did.
Yeah, I put tomatoes in our veggies. But anyways, it's been on my mind a lot.
It's blurry. There it goes.
That's weird. It's like... Okay, so Mark.
Yeah. Gospel of Mark.
Mark what?
11.
You always just say the name of the book we're going to, but you never tell us where.
Don't judge me. Mark 11.
Sometimes I just want to beat you up.
Ooh. You said that on camera?
Yes.
I'm going to use that against you.
Do it.
If I ever end up missing.
Mark 11 what?
If I end up missing. Oh, 11. 12.
Drives me nuts, you guys.
Mark 11:12.
Okay. Oh, this is good.
You don't even know what I'm going to say.
But just seeing that,
Oh,
that's good.
okay. So, guys, this part is I like setting the scenario. That's actually the fun part for me. Is Jesus is traveling from town to town, sharing the gospel, sharing the kingdom. And as he's about to come into Jerusalem,
I'm cold.
he's about to come into Jerusalem. He's with his entourage, with the disciples, his followers, and he got hungry, you know. And it says here in verse 12, it says, actually verse 11, I'm sorry, 11:11. And Jesus went into Jerusalem and into the temple. So when he had looked around at all the things, as the hour was already late, he went out to Bethany with the 12. So he was already in Jerusalem, but he would leave at night. Bethany was a nearby town. And it says, now the next day, when they had come out from Bethany, he was hungry. If I remember right, it was a few miles out of Jerusalem. So I imagine they're walking and Jesus gets hungry and he sees a fig tree. I love figs.
Yeah.
Yeah, my tío, my uncle, had a fig tree right down the street from us, and I used to go and I'd get a whole paper bag full and just eat. I always have stories of eating fruits when I was a kid, huh?
I know. You know who has
Fig tree? Who?
Well, Sister Sonia. Remember they were talking about figs.
Oh, that's right.
So when they have them in the harvest, we got to go get some.
Yeah, I'm taking a bag. So, and seen from afar a fig tree having leaves, he went to see if perhaps he would find something on it. So when he came to it, he found nothing but leaves, for it was not the season for figs. In response, Jesus said to it, "Let no one eat fruit from you ever again." And his disciples heard it. So they're walking. Jesus is hungry. Sounds like he needed a Snickers. You know, the commercial?
Like one of those commercials.
Yeah. He's hungry. He's probably, I guess, in a bad mood. And he sees a fig tree and he's like, oh, some figs. And it was full of leaves, so it looked like it was full.
It was deceiving.
Yeah. But when he got to it, there was no figs. And Jesus did something interesting because it didn't give him any fruit. He says, well, since you're going to give me fruit, let no one ever eat fruit from you again. And the disciples heard that, right? So they made a mental note and the day proceeded. What's interesting about this is I'm going to jump verses, but then we're going to jump back. Now let's jump to verse 20. So the next day, it says, now in the morning, as they passed by, this is the next day, they saw the fig tree dried up from the roots. They're like, what the heck? This thing was full of leaves yesterday, and it was dried to the roots. And Peter, remembering, said to Jesus, Rabbi, look, the fig tree which you cursed has withered away. And Jesus answered and said to them, have faith in God. For surely I say to you, whoever says to this mountain, be removed and be cast into the sea, and does not doubt in his heart, but believes that those things he say will be done, he will have whatever he says. Therefore I say to you, whatever things you ask when you pray, believe that you receive them, and you will have them. Okay. So the next day, the fig tree is completely dry. And Peter reminds Jesus. And Jesus doesn't even actually say anything directly about the fig tree. He just basically goes on to say, hey, have faith in God. If you see a mountain, speak to it. And tell it to be cast out, and have no doubt in your heart, but believe that those things will be done, and it'll happen.
So meaning if they really wanted that fig tree to come back to life, that they can actually speak it back into life? Is that what he's saying?
Well, I mean,
can it be
it could
perceived that way?
It could be that. Well,
because this whole thing kind of seems debatable.
Well, we haven't read this part yet.
Okay, yeah. Okay, well, please do, because...
So let me tell you this first. Biblically speaking, God has always talked about Israel as being the fig tree. Okay. It's mentioned in the Old Testament that the fig tree represents Israel. And at this time, in the time of Jesus, there was a whole lot of religious people. It looked like a tree that was full of leaves with no fruit on it. So Jesus is about to walk into Jerusalem when he sees the fig tree full of leaves. It doesn't give him any fruit, so he curses it. And look what happens right after that. Let's backtrack. It says in verse 15, right after he cursed the fig tree for looking like it had something, but it had nothing. It says, so they came to Jerusalem. Then Jesus went into the temple and began to drive out those who bought and sold in the temple, and overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those who sold doves. And he would not allow anyone to carry wares through the temple. Jesus went, and basically they turned the temple into a flea market. Jesus loses it and begins to turn the tables over, gets a whip, and begins to whip the people that had businesses there. And it says that he taught, saying to them, is it not written, my house shall be called a house of prayer for all nations, but you have made it a den of thieves. And the scribes and chief priests heard it and sought how they might destroy him, for they feared him, because all the people were astonished at his teaching. When evening had come, he went out of the city. So Israel has always been known as the fig tree. And on the way to Jerusalem, he curses the fig tree for looking like it's full but had no fruit. And he goes into Jerusalem looking like it was full of leaves but it had no fruit.
So when the Israelites came out of Egypt throughout those 40, is that what you're talking about? Or no?
No.
Okay, then explain to me.
What I'm saying is this, is that Jesus was using that fig tree as an example of the state, as the spiritual state of Israel at that time.
At that time?
Yes.
Okay.
That fig tree looked like it was full of leaves, but had no fruit. Israel at that time, they had the temple, they had the priest, they had all this religious stuff going on, but there was no fruit.
I get it.
So he was trying to teach the disciples something, that just because something looks like it's full and it's full of leaves and it's giving shade, if it has no fruit, it serves no purpose. Just because your church, and it's blurry again, there it goes. Just because you act Christian, walk around Christian, have a Christian church, looking very Christian, it looks like it has a lot of leaves, but if it has no fruit, it's not worth anything. And in this moment, Jesus cursed that tree, and he says, since you're not going to give me any fruit, you're not going to give anybody fruit. It's a warning.
But what confuses
So
me...
the next day,
okay,
that fig tree has basically what Jesus spoke. He spoke to that tree and says, since you're not going to give me any fruit, you're not going to give anyone fruit. And the very next day, the tree was rotted. The tree was dead. And then Jesus goes into this lesson saying, listen, because they're astonished. They're like, how can this be? How can this tree that was full of greenery all of a sudden? And Jesus says, listen, you need to start speaking out, because with the things that you speak out is what's going to happen.
Well, let me rephrase that. Not confused, but what I want to question, and maybe you can kind of explain this to me. Here it says it wasn't yet the season for figs. So everything has its time and its seasons for things. And if it wasn't its season for the figs, how could there have been figs on there?
That's a good question.
If it wasn't yet time for the figs to be there, because everything has a process, just like there's fall, there's winter and everything. So things are going to bloom at its time of season.
Yeah.
So it says on here, it wasn't yet for the season of figs. So he was upset for it not having figs, but yet it wasn't the season for it. So for me, I do question that. And I'm just wondering the same thing as Christians. Sometimes people are in different parts of seasons in their life as well.
You know, well, in the original context, I guarantee you that there's something to that.
Because this is the message that I'm reading right here.
That I don't know yet. In the same way that I teach stuff that people are like, man, I had no idea that was, I bet you anything that there's something in that I haven't learned yet about why was Jesus mad at a tree, because it wasn't even the season for that tree to bear fruit. So you're right. That's a question I don't have an answer to. That doesn't mean it's confusing. That means there's something we don't know.
Yeah.
So those are the things exactly that send me into finding out more and searching deeper. Because now that you asked the question, now it's going to bug me until I know the answer. But that's why
it stood out to me.
Yeah, but see, guys, that's why we read scripture. That's why we dive deeper. And if we don't understand the scripture, we dive into the historical context. We dive into the Jewish context. We dive into that region or archaeology or whatever that we need to find, because you'll find little gems when you search for those things. So that's a good question, you know. But I do want to say this, though, that I think this is the part to me that makes it relevant. Is Jesus spoke a curse to that tree, and the tree withered.
Okay.
Right? And then Jesus says this, right? This is the part that's relevant to me. Jesus says, have faith in God. I say to you, whoever says to the mountain, be removed and be cast into the sea, and if you don't doubt in your heart, but believe that those things he says will be done, he will have whatever he says. So to me, this comes back to the fact of, what are you speaking out into people? What are you speaking into your spouse? Because if you have, with faith, you can destroy and curse that person, or with your mouth, you can bless that person.
Yeah.
If Jesus spoke words to a tree and it withered, what happens when we speak words to a person? That means we can literally make them wither. Why do you think it's so, people say don't ever call your kids stupid or dumb, or don't ever do that to your kids, because what you're doing is you're cursing them. So in the same mouth that we bless is the same mouth we curse. So what Jesus, to me, what I see Jesus saying, he's like, man, if you speak to that mountain and you tell it to throw itself into the ocean, if you believe it, it'll be done. And obviously, guys, he's not talking about a literal mountain. I'm not going to talk to a giant mountain, because there's mountains around us like Mount Diablo, and expect it to pull out from the earth and throw itself into the Pacific Ocean. You know, but maybe you have other mountains in your life. What mountains do you have in your life? Is it sickness? Is it finances? Is it problems in your marriage? Is it addictions? What is it? And can you begin to have the faith that if you speak to that mountain, it's going to move? I like what he says here, though. He says, I say to you, whoever says to the mountain. Because a lot of times, the mountains in our life, we ask Jesus to remove them.
Yeah.
But what does he say here? He doesn't say, oh, have faith that I'll remove them. He says, I say to you, whoever says to that mountain. He's putting it in you. He's putting it in me. We're like saying, Lord, we need you to intervene. And he says, what do you mean? I gave you a mouth. You start to speak into that problem. You speak into your marriage. You speak into your situation. You speak into those things. And he says, and if you do that in your heart with no doubt, then those things that he says will be done. He will have whatever he says.
You'll get God's everything.
24, therefore I say to you, whatever things you ask when you pray, believe that you receive them, and you will have them.
Yeah.
Now, people take this out of context and say, oh, I'm going to pray for Lamborghini then. Here's the thing, guys. How do I say this? Is that we need to be aligned with God, and we need to be attached to God. That's why a lot of times I'll pray for people. I say, Lord, let them hate the things that you hate and love the things that you love.
Yeah.
Because when we're in line with the Father, then the things that we ask are going to be given to us. You know, and it's like, because we're not going to ask for things out of his will, because we will be attached to him. Like I know my dad, okay? And I know the things he likes. I know the things he don't like. So why would I bring something that he doesn't like? I know him because I have a relationship with my father. I know the things he likes. Mm-hmm. I know he likes when I cook him tilapia. I know he likes that. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's in line with that. You know, so what are we asking, guys? So a lot of times we want to ask God for things when you don't even know the Father. People want to ask things in prayer, ask God of things, but you don't even know him. You don't have a relationship with him. Because when you start to have a relationship with God, you start to know the things that he likes and the things he doesn't like, and the things he wants for you in your life and the things he doesn't want for you in your life.
And sometimes when you have such a close relationship with him, an intimate relationship, you don't even really need to ask. He just provides it.
Yeah.
He just provides it without even you asking, because he already knows what you need before you even ask.
Yeah.
He already knows. You know, it's like he's already the provider and the sustainer, and it's like he already provides it all.
Yeah.
Because he knows your needs.
You know what's funny is a few weeks ago, you know, an opportunity opened itself up for me and Sharon financially. You know, and so I've talked to you about it, but myself, I'm just like, all right, Lord, why are you doing this? Why are you dropping this on our lap? And it's not a huge opportunity.
No, it's small, yeah.
It's something small. It's something humble, but still, I'm like, Lord, I have a job. So what are you doing here? And I kind of chuckled to myself, guys, because I've been serving God, not a whole super long time, but long enough to, I know how he operates in my life.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, God, what are you up to now? And I just kind of laugh, you know. And so I get a call from my boss, and he says, hey, the thing you're doing now, it's ending in 2 weeks. You know? And I'm just like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? And I kind of chuckled to myself, and I'm like, see, God, I knew you were doing something.
And this just happened, 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
This has happened 2 weeks ago. And then he comes and he tells me today, you know, I want to talk to you. And then he tells me that the job is ending. And I just stayed quiet. And then I just happened to tell him, well, we just got a call today for a little job. You know, it's small, but, you know, it's a blessing because, you know, even if it's small, it's okay. And I don't know. I just kind of I know God's going to provide. He already knows our needs.
Yeah, you know, so it's like, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying like I'm Mr. Super Christian or nothing. I'm just a crazy person that I trust the God that I serve. I trust him with everything. I trust him. And when I saw this other opportunity begin to open slowly, I'm just like, in my heart, it's crazy. I'm being truthful to you. In my heart, I said, okay, that means the job I'm at is going to close. I know it. And I didn't say it to her.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't say it to you, but I knew in my heart, I'm like, it's coming to an end.
Wow.
So when my boss called me, it didn't surprise me. I didn't freak out. I'm just like, okay. You know, I said, man, it's been great working with you. Thanks. And he goes, no, you know, you got 2 more weeks. It's good. You know, and I get paid like a week after. So, I mean, I'm like, okay, you know, and I mean, am I going to be a little smarter? Of course. you know, when things like when there's a transition, you know, you're smart, but I trust God. I just trust him. Yeah. I trust him, and he knows what we need, and he's smarter than I am, and he's 1,000 steps ahead than I am, and
he always provides. What did we come home with? Oh, sorry.
You're hitting the mic.
I know. What did we come home with? You know,
what do you mean?
Boxes.
Oh yeah.
You know, even from SoCal right now, when we came home, it's funny because my mom says, "Hey, come on over. You know, I have a box for you of some stuff to take home." And every time I go to my mom's, she always loads me up with all kinds of cans and all kinds of, you know, non-perishables and everything. You know how moms are, you guys. You know, moms are just like that. And I'm like, okay, I'll be there. And I'm thinking that I'm going to walk away with a little bag. She had a huge cart full of boxes and everything. And my kids... Food. Yeah, of food. And my kids couldn't even lay down in the car on the way home. And they're like, thanks, Grandma. Thanks. We can't even lay down and go to sleep in the car on the way home because we had an abundance of food that my mom sent us home with. And that's exactly what I mean. God provides in every way.
Yeah, he always has. He's good, and he's good to his children. You know,
sure is.
He's good, and he's always provided. I don't say that at all arrogantly. I say it humbly, man. That honestly, he always comes through. You know,
he's a cool dude.
And it's so unexpected sometimes, and I'm so grateful that in the season of my walk with Christ, I've been serving him since 2004. So what's that? 14 years?
Pretty much 13.
I don't know, whatever. At this point in my walk, it takes a lot to waver me because I trust him, and it's just the way he is, guys, and he truly, when we begin to understand who we are, yeah. You know, and you begin to walk that out, and I don't have to see the path anymore to say, Lord, I don't know which way to go, show me the path. I don't even have to see the path anymore. If he just says go straight, I'm just going to go straight. And if it looks like a cliff behind every step, well, so be it, because I know by the time my foot lands there, there's going to be another place to place my foot. And that's just the way it is, you know? So, I think this is a good story. And you asked an amazing question that I'm going to have to dive deeper into. Why was Jesus mad at this fig tree if it wasn't its season yet? You know, so, or maybe you have the answer, you know, and just write in the comments, you know, let me know. School me a little bit, because I don't know everything. I never claim to know everything, you know, but the little bit I do know, I like to share it in a way that's relevant, in a way that's easy to understand, because that's what I keep hearing a lot is people say, man, I like your videos because I can understand it. And that's my whole point, you know, is what good is it having a lot of knowledge or wisdom if you can't teach it to somebody in a way where they're going to comprehend it, and
or we can't be real and share, you know, the things that keep it real. Like, you know, if there's something that, you know, like even when I don't understand, I come right at him and I'll be like, I don't get it, you know. Yeah. And he finds a way to really help me understand and help us understand. Or if he doesn't get it, he kind of admits like, hey, I don't get it either. So we just, you know, wean off of each other, and I think that's the beautiful thing. And then we have interaction with everybody on here as well, and we listen. We read everybody's comments, and we take that in.
You know, just you know, like the last few days, like we didn't do a video that one night, so we did it at 3:00 in the morning, driving back from LA. And then last night we did it so late that I wasn't able to upload it until the middle of the day, you know. And I was reminded of how impactful these videos are. I went to visit a very dear friend. We went to visit a very, very dear friend of ours in the hospital. you know, and she's very sick. And the first thing she says, you know, because I haven't seen her in a few months. And
well, you went to see her first this
yeah,
morning.
I went to see her this morning. And she says, barely, because she can't, she's so weak, she can't talk that much. And she tells me, she goes, your videos bless me so much. She goes, they mean so much to me. I've been in this hospital for 9 days, and I've been sick since December, you know, and this is what blew me away. She says, I've been serving God for over 30 years, and I've never heard the gospel like this. She goes, I pray that you don't stop, that you don't stop. And I almost broke, and I didn't want to, because she's the one that's sick and she's the one in the hospital. Who am I to cry? I'm strong. I'm young still, fairly young, you know, but when I heard her say that, unable to go to church, unable to fellowship, but she has a phone, and to watch these videos, and for her to tell, this is a woman of God that has served God. She has a family of pastors, a family, huge family of pastors and ministers and evangelists. And for her to tell me, an ex-con, that I say things in a way that she's never heard in her life.
Yeah, and she watches us. She watches us every day, and she's like, I love you too.
Yeah. You know, and it's hard. Ministry's hard because we get to bless babies. We get to marry people, and then we have to pray for people in hospitals. And that's so hard, you know, and it reminds me, it was a reminder today of how important these videos are. Because I don't know who's watching. And for her to say that to me, and for her to say, she said, my prayer is that you don't stop. You know? So guys, sometimes we're going to be late on these videos. Sometimes we don't have time. Sometimes I'm going to be really sleepy doing it. But me being a little sleep deprived is worth what it's giving to some of you that are listening. This is what I signed up for. To share the gospel, to share Jesus, to share his message for nothing else.
Amen.
So it's going to finish. My video thing is going to run out of memory. I got to erase some of the old ones. So, all right, guys, I don't want it to end.
Again?
Yeah, I don't want it to end.
Oh, Andre.
Have a good day. God bless you.
We need to get this man a bigger memory card.
Jesus
seriously.
loves you. And look how big my head looks compared to hers. Hold on. See?
No, he just has a bigger head, you guys.
No, look.
Babe, stop going. You're going to break the couch.
Look how little my head looks.
Oh, my God.
See? See?
He has a big
Look at that. Look, your head looks big now.
No.
Look.
You're a dork.
All right, guys.
Bye, guys.
God bless you.
We love you guys.